everyone. Welcome back to TFF Podcast, where we speak about health, well-being, spirituality, music, arts, and culture. We also host weekly workshops, talks, and exhibitions. And today we are joined by model, writer, and poet, Melodi Maker. Hello. Welcome.
Thank
So
you for
nice to
having
have
me.
you here. Yay. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Well, Melodi is London-based. Are you also born in London?
Born in London, yeah. Born in Camden Town. So through and through.
How exciting. And why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about what it is that you do?
So I model mainly, and then also do poetry and a bit of writing. So the poetry has started or kicked off this year, which has been really exciting. Although I've been doing it since I was a kid, I'd say, but was never quite brave enough to unleash any of my stuff to the world. And that's one thing lockdown's been really good for, I think.
Amazing. So when did you start kind of releasing it to the world, and what led you to find that inner fortitude to release it out and share your writing with everyone?
Unleash the inner voice and the inner child. Probably in March was the first one. So I started with a piece called Fuck Fear, which is still everyone's favourite.
Yes.
And it was through lockdown. It's kind of had more time on my hands. I had built a lot more confidence in myself. I think a massive part of it was to do with meditation, actually. I did a Vipassana in February.
Wow. And
sort of during it, had all of these streams in sessions where it's all I was seeing really was me writing. And then, it started from there as just Instagram, IGTVs. And now it's a paid job, so it's exciting.
That's super exciting. That's one blessing that came out of 2020 for you.
For sure. I mean, the beginning was really rough, and towards the end, I'm like, oh my God, 2020's been the best year of my life.
That's great. I love the sounds of that. So I remember seeing you perform at Moetry, and that was very exciting to watch you do that live and see the reaction from the audience. How's your experience been performing live?
So I've done it twice now, both for Moetry, and both times my legs were complete jelly. Like literally I had the shakes so bad I thought I wasn't going to be able to walk to the stage. But once I got there and got into the flow of it, I absolutely loved it and sort of had a brainwave moment where it was like, fuck,
It's okay. It's okay. People have been swearing on the podcast.
I really love performing. It's sort of because I've always loved writing, and that was one thing which is quite introvert and in myself, and then being able to do it on stage and go, actually, I really like this too, it was a different ball game. But
amazing. It must be interesting getting the feedback from the live audience. In real time.
Yeah, and having sort of the clicks go on. I think as soon as you get that first click, when you're reciting anything, you're like, okay, yes, I've got this. Let me go.
Yes. Just to preface it, at Moetry, which is a live poetry event that takes place here in London, instead of clapping while they're performing poetry, you snap when you like something and when you would otherwise be clapping.
Yeah, so there's no interruptions during the piece.
Yes, and such a supportive environment as well.
Oh my gosh, so supportive. Everyone that goes is sort of an artist as well, and really cool, and there to have your back really throughout the whole thing. So it was a nice gateway into it.
Sure. Such a nice way to break the ice into performing live.
Yeah,
when you feel so held by the community around.
Yeah, it is like a big hug, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Shout out to Mo of Moetry. Thank you for creating that and bringing everyone together through your platform. So what kind of things do you like to write about in your poetry?
So it's all pretty personal, to be honest with you, like life experiences I've had, sort of emotions that I go through. Obviously, Fuck Fear was all about facing your demons and insecurities and just doing exactly what it is that you want to, but not on your own, in front of everybody else. And I think it's over this year that I learned to really just be myself and write what I want to and do what I want to. And once I started doing that, and I think it's the same with everyone, then that's where life just sort of starts working in your favour. Some political bits I write about as well. Ex-boyfriends, because let's face it, they always squeeze their way in there somewhere. Yeah, a lot. It's personal. It's personal stuff. It's like my journey, really, that goes onto the paper.
But I feel like that's the thing that we can all be the most scared about sharing is the personal stuff, but it also seems to be the stuff that resonates the most with the listeners because we all go through similar types of trials and tribulations.
Yeah,
and when you share them vulnerably like that, it allows other people to experience and share them vulnerably as well.
Yeah, I think vulnerability is the key to it all, really. And sort of, I always say that I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it sometimes doesn't work in my favour, but when it is to the right people or the right audience or the right crowd, then it can really work for you. And it is that resonating that people want when they sort of even look at a painting or hear a song or a poem.
Yeah, I too wear my heart on my sleeve, and I think that definitely makes you more relatable and able to connect with people authentically.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that. So how does modeling tie into your creative journey?
So modelling I've done for about 5-6 years now, which is insane to say and makes me feel slightly old. But it built a lot of confidence in me. I used to be super shy and super insecure as a kid. I'd literally just read and write and was very antisocial. And I think when I started modelling and having to go to all these different castings and see different people, it took me out of my shell a lot and built that confidence, which I think has then spiraled onto being able to do everything else that I do now.
How interesting. What a cool experience to have with modeling. I know that a lot of people can kind of have the opposite effect where they get more and more insecure because you're constantly being looked at for your external appearance and it's always being commented on.
Yeah.
And stuff. So what do you think about your modeling experience has made you kind of go the other way and become more confident with yourself?
Do you know what? I always think it's because I started late. I started when I was around 21, and a lot of girls, when they get into that business, it's sort of at 16 to 18, which I still think is too young, actually, because you haven't built that sort of self-worth and self-love in yourself yet. And where I got it a bit later on, I sort of could blank past all the, your fucking arms are too big or, all the different stuff that you can get. And it was just a bit like, this is me and I don't care at that point.
Yeah. That's nice that you had the opportunity to get in. That's crazy that that's considered late to get into modeling, like 20.
21.
That's wild.
Yeah, I was like considered old, really. And now I'm an older model, which is crazy.
That's crazy because to me you look like you're about 16. So do tell us, what is your secret?
I'm going to put it down to genetics, I think, and good skincare. Yeah, I've always opted for natural skincare, and I do think that's got something to do with it too.
Yeah, I think so. And maybe just the general happy disposition must contribute.
General joy in life.
How nice. So do you find in your modeling that you're able to express creativity through that as well?
I think it depends on the shoots, really. Obviously, sort of the e-com and commercial stuff, not really. It's you portraying whatever it is that they want, but with the editorials, or I love shooting with friends because then I do get to put my own sort of creative spark and my own personality into it a bit more.
And that's actually how we met. Funny story. I thought we were childhood friends from Costa Rica. Was not the case, but I reached out to Melodi on Instagram and then she came in and I photographed her here in this house. And that's when I realized that we were not, in fact, childhood friends. Because
although it still felt like we knew each other, which was nice.
Totally. When I realized that I actually knew you because Margot photographed you, I was like, oh, that makes sense. There's the connection.
Yeah, 2 shoots that I've loved still to this day.
Yay, that's wonderful. And so do you find that you are able to work your sort of spiritual journey into your creative expression?
Yeah, I think my spiritual journey's got a lot to do with my creative expression at the minute, to be honest. Even so, I meditate at least an hour a day, and that I've started this year, and it's definitely helps me to write for sure. And I think it helps me to relax and build confidence, and it's just sort of taken away all the anxiety and the fear. And yeah, I just feel like I've flown this year.
That's wonderful. What a nice
Yeah.
experience of 2020 when we've been in probably one of the most wild states the world's ever seen. It's nice that you've been able to kind of internalize that and meditate for an hour a day. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I think it was sort of seeing all the chaos that was going on in the world that made me go, okay, if my external world is like that, then I need to create some peace inside myself in order for that to sort of shine out. So yeah, it's important for me.
Nice. And have you been able to keep modeling even throughout the pandemic?
So not for the beginning of the year. The first lockdown, it was completely nothing. But the past few months, it's been rolling again. So it's been nice. And it was nice as well to realise that I love it and that I've really missed the time that I had away from it as well.
Yeah, that's exciting. Had some time to go inside and reflect on what you enjoy.
Yeah.
How nice.
And what's important to you.
Yes.
I think it's easy to forget that when you're sort of in the rat race.
So do you have a bit of like a plan of how you'd like to move forward with your writing and creative expression?
So I've got a few things planned. I've just had a really exciting job come up that unfortunately I can't say yet, but it will be out in December, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And then I want to start releasing some books. So I've started a series of children's books that I hope to have the first one out by next year.
Wow.
And that would be, sort of my life baby that I've wanted to do since I was literally about 5 years old.
How exciting. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I think that's really important because obviously the kids are the leaders of tomorrow. So to educate them, obviously media all around us is programming us all the time. So if we can program the little ones with good stuff and good information and good ideas, then perhaps that will reflect on the society developing before us.
Yeah, those were my thoughts exactly.
How exciting.
To be honest, I think because I read, like my mum read to me as a kid so much it was ridiculous, and then I started reading at 4 and it was such a big part of my childhood that it would be nice to give something back to kids as well, you know?
Yeah, that's really exciting. Actually, since we've all been meeting in this house and coming together, we've been talking about making a children's book about like this house and the story of how all these little fairies came together to create in this house.
Cute.
So maybe we could collaborate on that.
Definitely, I'd be up for that.
Have you thought about how you want to do the imagery in the books?
So I had a lot of people ask me whether I was going to draw them myself, because I used to draw quite a lot as well, but it's a bit too much pressure. I can see the image in my head, but I would like to find an artist to collaborate with, and I'm just hoping that if I keep writing, then the universe will bring them to me, to be honest with you. I feel like it works best like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. There's lots of talented artists here in London. I'm sure the right one will come knocking on your door soon. And what about with your modeling? Do you prefer kind of specifically modeling, or do you see yourself wanting to do any kind of like conceptualization of the shoots or any kind of way to expand on that?
Not with modeling, actually. No. It's kind of my pay baby, if that makes sense.
Your bread and butter, as my grandpa would call it.
We all need like the income and then our passion and then I think a hobby that keeps us healthy.
Yeah.
And for me, modeling is very much that.
And what is your hobby that keeps you healthy?
Yoga.
Nice.
Yeah. Yoga and meditation. Can you call meditation a hobby? It's a practice more, isn't it? Yeah.
I guess.
I'd say yoga and gym. I'm a bit of a obsessive gym buff.
I've noticed from your Instagram stories that you love the gym.
I know, constantly posting sort of gym box posts that no one probably cares about, but we do it anyway.
It inspires
That's the
me.
life of social media.
It inspires
So
me.
glad.
I look at your stories and I'm like, oh, Bailey, go to the gym. Melody's at the gym. Go to the gym.
Do you go to the gym? Does it work?
I don't go to the gym, but I have been doing some boxing sessions. We've done a couple where we'll get on Zoom with my dad and he'll walk us through the fundamentals of
how
boxing.
fun.
So we've done a couple of those and been working on the fundamentals and some different exercises that he gives us to do to build the overall strength
It's
to do that.
a really good workout, boxing, isn't it?
It's apparently one of the best, and it's also one of the oldest Olympic sports.
Wow, I didn't know
But
that.
it's a great all-over full-body workout.
Yeah, I remember doing some Thai boxing when I stayed in Thailand for 2 months.
That's
so I do it
intense.
quite a lot. It was so intense. There was a day I thought I was literally going to have a heart attack. And the woman was just there like, put your hands in the air, put your hands in the air, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. So I was just like standing in the room like... But we survived it.
There you
we haven't
go.
gone back.
I wanted
You might
to
have
do
to
Thai
get me back
boxing when I was in Thailand, but my
It's
friend that I was
so
there
good.
with was like, Bailey, I don't know if that's a good idea for you. Which I don't know if he understood that I actually do know how to box, but Thai boxing, I understand, takes a whole different level to it.
Yeah, I mean, with your dad, you must have learned quite a lot growing up.
Yeah, growing up, he would teach me the fundamentals always. I did have an issue focusing when it was just one-on-one. He'd want to do it for like hours at a time, and I'd get a few, just with the little subtle critiques here and there. I'm quite sensitive, so I'd be like, I'm not a professional, but we're working on that.
That's a good thing to learn as well, though, that you're never like immediately at like a professional at anything. You need to put the time in, and just it's about enjoying it.
Exactly, that's the thing, and I think remembering that. I mean, he was a world champion, so I think just always feeling like I needed to fill those shoes. It's a big pressure, and then learning directly from him the techniques, and it's like obviously not going to be as perfect as his techniques.
Yeah, of course.
But it's the day-by-day work in progress. So I've been really enjoying doing the group classes because it takes a bit of the heat off of me. We can all share the heat. But it is a really great workout, and it's been feeling good to get back into exercising.
Yeah, nice.
And I would like to get a bike and do some biking around London as well.
Gosh, so I hadn't been on a bike since I learnt to ride a bike at probably about 7 years old, and my dad's just got an electric bike, and my brother made me go on it at the weekend, and it was so much fun. I literally came off it and nearly cried and went, how have I wasted a lifetime of not cycling?
Exactly. It's so fun. I
Yeah.
hadn't biked in a long time, and then in Canada before I came here, I went on a 30K bike ride, and it was so much fun.
that's quite long.
And here, obviously, the public transport is quite congested, and with the current kind of pandemic situation, it's not ideal to be squished on the tube with everybody.
Yeah, of
Taxis
course.
being quite pricey as well. It's nice
And
to
they've
have.
gone up in price, I'm sure, over this as well.
With the congestion charge, I think. So biking, and apparently they've been putting biking lanes all around London, so it's a good time also with less traffic on the road to get into it.
Maybe
So
we should do that together then.
make a cycle gang. We'll be cycling, doing group boxing, yoga. We'll just be like fierce
2020,
girl
let's
gang.
be fit.
Yes,
2021.
exactly.
Gosh, we're going
2021.
into 2021.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, back to the writing. How do you find that you're able to, 'cause I do some writing as well, but mostly articles and stuff like this. And I've started writing a book, but then I found that a bit, I don't know, interesting to get it all going with the flow to where it's got that nice continuous flow. How do you find, is there anything that helps you get into that flow state other than meditating, which you already
To
said?
be honest, it just comes for me, really. It will be just one line that I hear in my head and then take that and just flow from it from there. But it does just feel like a channeling. It is almost like you connect to something else and it all just comes out, and then it's probably all done in about 10 minutes. And then I'll just spend days going back and editing or making things a bit quirkier or fixing a rhyme here and there. But it definitely is a flow state that suddenly just comes.
I think that's how the best writing's been done. Bob Dylan says that his songs just came to him as downloads. Like he doesn't really take credit for writing them because they was kind of just channeling them.
One of the most talented writers in the world, I'd say, as well. I really want to read his book. I've heard really good things.
Yes, and he's also a painter, which not many people know, but he has painted a lot of really beautiful paintings as well. But yeah, his book is apparently really good. Actually, the day that he was going to Paris to do his book signing, a friend of my dad's worked with him on that book, and he invited me to go hang out with him at the book signing, and I had just flown to Istanbul that day to move back to California, and I was like, oh my gosh,
like, you would
opportunity of a lifetime.
Die.
Yeah.
That would have been insane.
Yeah, well, hopefully sometime we'll have him on the podcast. Bob, we want you on here. Shout out.
I'll be here for that.
Yes,
in the background somewhere.
Do a writing workshop that we'll all attend as well.
Amazing. All things to come.
Yes, lots of exciting things to come. You can feel it in the air. So we like to leave the listeners with a sort of take-home tip that they can internalize from anywhere in the world where they're listening from and put it into their practice of their own life. So for models or writers or poets or all three that are listening, would you have any tips for kind of how to expand upon their passions into developing a career out of it?
I'd say just be yourself, be as authentically you as possible, and don't worry about anything being shit. Literally just as it comes out how you would do it, unleash that and see what people think, because there's always going to be someone in the world that resonates with you, and everything's objective and everybody likes different things. So if you like it, someone else will like it too.
Yay, I love that. Thank you. If you would like to recite something on the spot, you can, or we can also just put a link in to where people can find some of your poetry that's up already.
I started a piece at the weekend called Cosmic, so I'll happily do the intro to that. If
yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay. Got a means for meditation to stop my heart and head from racing, keep them horses in their stables so they learn a bit of patience. Solitaire to calm the mind, the place I compartmentalize, divide the you from the I and truly open my third eye to see that I and I are actually just consciousness combined.
Woo! Yes! I love that.